entertaining match, 4-1. Well, it sounds like he's potting them on the practice table anyway.
Well, he's a good player. I don't think Ronnie will be taking that match lightly. I think it's safe to say that the fact that he's beaten him before, as you point out, suggests he could beat him again. Ronnie's a bit in and out at the moment. It's some very, very good as ever, but not all good. So the next chapter will be after this match.
Just a reminder on the Eurosport app, you can watch table 2. Mark Selby, as I say, 1-2-9 in the first frame against Mark Joyce. And after that match, it'll be Sean Murphy against Jamie O'Neill. So plenty of entertainment there, as indeed there is here on the main table. So a very swift 74 from Liang Wenbo has given him the opening frame here against Judd Trump. They're playing for a place in the last 16 this evening of this Scottish Open. Barry Hawkins, I can tell you, has beaten Liam Highfield 4-3. So we mentioned Highfield's 16 red total clearance, but Hawkins, the perennial Mr. Under the Radar at these events until we see him on quarter-finals day. He's still going. He's got to play Karen Wilson next, so that's an interesting one to come tonight.
Yeah, I think under the radar means nowhere near the match table, doesn't it? Usually no chance of getting on one either, with Messrs Trump and O'Sullivan in town. Unless you have to play them, of course.
One.
Wow, that's another fantastic pot. Just early indications, and it is early, is that Judd Trump might have caught his good pal Liang Wenbo on the wrong day here. If he's knocking in those, he's going to be dangerous. Might have walked into one this afternoon here. Anyway, it's just a frame, but it was an impressive start. Incredible record. You mentioned all those best of 7 wins in a row. I think we've revised our opinions on things over the most recent years.
9.
Anything that was at least a best of 9 never used to constitute a match. But the shorter matches with no intervals and all of that has become the norm, and the better players have got used to stepping up quickly.
Yeah, and the thing is, we've seen with Trump, we saw it at the English Open, no matter what the distance, if your opponent has a chance to beat you, they've got to win that last frame. A couple of times he was 3-1 down, and the people he was playing just couldn't quite get over the line.
17. Four. 25.
Also, it's not a new thing, you know. People think it was all, in the old days, it was all best of 3 weeks. Early years of the Masters, they played best of 7s in the early rounds.
It was the very early days, though, Dave. I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, you associate the old days with always long matches. They weren't always.
Matches over a month and all this.
Yeah.
The World Championships, well, certainly a couple of weeks. Anyway, this is Wenbo off again here. Reds and blacks. And I think the bunch are going to be opened up here. he'd like to hit the right-hand red of that whole setup, I think, which would a tendency to try and hit the middle red. Judd's just looking for a shot. Well, he hit the right-hand red, but he actually fizzed the cue ball back, so unless he can find a plant to the middle, the break is likely to end. Those two reds are lined up somewhere near the middle pocket. It's almost a hard stun into the bunching in rather than a screw in and out. And if he knocks this in, then he's liable to knock everything in, I should think, because this is difficult.
He's having a good look at it.
Well, maybe he's interested in staying on reds and blacks, but this shot is set up, but only to the near jaw.
Liang Wenbo, 40.
Would have been a great one, but it was just one shot too many, as it turned out.
Very aggressive start from Liang Wenbo, but you saw from the overhead, those reds, were some distance apart. But Trump will have seen what he's up against today, sort of form he's produced so many times against people of late.
Difficult one, isn't it, for Judd? Because his tendency is to be very attacking, but he'll know that Wenbo could potentially outpot him actually in a short match. So it might be a bit of sending him up to the bulk cushion for a while. Is the way forward. Has he done there? Drawn out the mistake, although I think he's got away with it actually.
Yeah, just held his hand up to acknowledge that. Whoever wins the match will play the Mark Williams or Jackson Page. That's a very interesting one because that's master v pupil. Mark's obviously mentored Jackson for the last few years and now they're playing each other.
That is a fascinating game. Out of the question, there could be a shock there, I think. As you say, given that they know each other's game almost too well. I don't think it'll be Jackson Page phased by playing Mark Williams anyway.
No, exactly. He's playing a three-times world champion, but also his good pal. First time they've met professionally.
Well, that's twice he's done the old DDK, the dreaded double kiss. This one, I think, looks to be more costly than the previous.
1.
So, as I said, Judd has not been in his... He's been a bit lacklustre, hardly surprisingly, in his 2 wins, I felt. But I don't think he's going to win playing like that today, from what I've seen so far.
I guess the question is, can he raise his game against someone clearly playing really good stuff and looking confident? All the signs are that he can, the way he's been playing the last couple of years. They played at the Crucible, didn't they, in 2016, and Liang was ahead at the halfway stage, and Trump said if he came back and won, he'd put money behind the bar of the local pub,
7.
which he duly did. Guessing it didn't last long. Some thirsty people at the World Championship.
Well,
cue ball should surely not have been there, which means the next shot is a little bit more on it than usual.
13.
That's beautiful cueing. Very good. And that is pretty good as well. That is the ideal place to land, to finish on that right-hand red, if he is, of the two that are close together. He's got to be pleased to have finished up there. Can he run through and avoid the other red pushing in front of the black?
21.
Yes.
Well, I guess nothing focuses the mind more than an opponent coming out, playing good stuff, going for his shots. Tells Trump the sort of snooker he's got to produce today. Can't just win, maybe with his B game today.
$29. $36. $37.
I made the decision to free the two reds, but he has put the pink a little awkwardly, which may or may not come into the equation later on. I guess the red by the pink is going to be the worry. But
42.
good to claw back in this frame from Trump.
$43.
This time he's off straight with so little amount. I don't think he can go around the table here for once. He's such a good exponent of that shot, but there really wasn't the angle. So he's mid-range here.
48.
This is a little bit more difficult than the ball he missed the end of the match against Robertson, isn't it? Same sort of a shot.
49.
Oh, look at this for an effort. Oh, what a shot. What a shot.
52.
Yeah, you could really, on the overhead, you could really see the accuracy required there.
53.
Well, another good shot required here to get near the red.
Rambo.
Well, it's a tricky one, this. It's a blind pocket. He won't be able to see the pocket opening when he's down on the shot, so these can always be missed. I think that's why he's giving it some extra care, looking down the line of the shot to make sure that he's got the right angle that he hits. Again,
58.
very, very good. He got a hold of it a little too much, but he's still okay there. Very clean pot.
What a fantastic break. Ooh,
Judd from 58.
didn't look in, did it? So the break ends.
Well now, the frame looked at his mercy, done all the hard work you could imagine, and now there could be a further twist.
Well, Trump needed 2 yellows and a green.
2.
I just feel there's a lot riding on this frame. If Wenbo won it, then He'd be well on his way. That one thought about it as well, that last shot, the green.
I guess it's blue to pink, isn't it? Key shot here.
9.
Yeah, for a left-hander as well, so it's not so easy to lay in behind it to put it along the cushion. So everything hinges, I think, on the next shot. Doesn't want too much side on this.
14.
I'm afraid that's what happened. He got too much left-hand side on it when he didn't really need it. So now he hasn't got a shot here at all. I mean, he could play a fairly basic safety shot, might be the order of the day. So to ensure he gets another shot in this frame, just push the pink to the right cushion perhaps. Either way, Judd Trump breathes again. I just think that's all he could do there. He couldn't afford to leave another chance.
So that's another frame for Judd Trump this week that's come down to pink and black. When he missed the yellow, he must have feared the worst. Of course, he just needs the pink.
Oh, that's another very good shot. It's been two quite enthralling frames in very different ways so far.
I'm not sure this one did catch the back. Yeah.
Well, that was a foul.
7.
Undoubtedly a foul. Black first, comfortably. The black wouldn't have moved in the first place otherwise.
Well, it's a miss then.
The a miss wasn't called, but clearly is a miss.
Well, one thing's for sure, he can't afford to do it again. Now he's 11 behind. First things first, they've got to get the balls back.
Which is never any fun when they've moved. I think the black was on its spot.
Colin Humphries is helping Desislava Boshalova, the referee. Well, that's where they were. So the black just to the right of its spot.
Could you move it real quick?
Well, the interesting thing is that the black wasn't on its spot the first time, if that is where they were originally. Yeah. Fairness to Desislava, I don't think she was expecting to be calling a miss there. You can't always know where the balls were going to be.
Just while they put this back, one last result from this morning's session. Lou Highsham's beaten Sonny Akani 4-3. Plays Selby or Joyce next. So, keep going, there we are. That's about right, just a slight adjustment.
Yeah.
When they do get them sorted out, one thing Wenbo knows, he cannot afford to make that same mistake because he'll need snookers if he does. So maybe a different shot. I don't know what. One that just involves not hitting the black, I suppose. Yes, he's going to the other side of the pink, I think quite rightly. So, Judd Trump with a chance, the kind of shot he likes when he's playing well, but there's quite a lot on this shot.
Six, Judd Trump. Frame.
Yeah, well done. Missed the yellow, he was on a great break of 58, missed the yellow. Liang had his chance, didn't get on the pink. Eventually Trump knocks it in. So already a really interesting match, and we're all square at one frame apiece. Mark Joyce with the chance here to win frame 2 against Mark Selby. Just needs this red as we pick it up. Selby made 129 break in the first, because Selby defending champ. As I say, whoever wins will play Lu Haishan. He's just beaten Sonny Akani 4-3. So this is the ball for Joyce. He's a tough player, I think, Mark Joyce, hard to beat, and it could be quite a lengthy one, I think, this afternoon.
Yeah, I think that with Mark Selby, so we know what a great player he is. He does have difficulty in these matches putting anyone away and blasting them off the table. It's not his style, the way that the Judd Trumps and O'Sullivan's, Mark Allen's can do. He seems to struggle with everyone. I thought he was a bit lacklustre and struggling yesterday to beat Nigel Bond. Of course, he got the job done in the end, but it wasn't one that you'd want to watch over too many times, having seen it once.
Well, this match, if you do want to watch it, is on the Eurosport app, as indeed the two main tables are all week. So, a good 67 in response to Selby's 129, level at 1-1 between the two marks, Selby and Joyce. And a couple of other matches are underway. Ding Junhui has started against Martin O'Donnell, still in the first frame there. Li Hang's won the first against Nobin Senkam, of course, beat John Higgins. Last night there was a great reaction actually to the interview in our studio with him. Very humble character. Robbie Williams has won the first against Lu Ning, but it looks like Lu Ning is going to level up. In fact, he has done at 1 each. So it's 1 each between Judd Trump and Liang Wenbo, two very entertaining frames, and this was a wonderful shot from Trump in the last frame to bring this red off the cushion. That was a good pot on the last red. Of course, he missed this yellow though, so at that point there was a chance for 2-0. It was always going to be about the pink. Liang didn't get on it. Of course, later fouled the black. That was the winning shot from Trump to level up at 1 each. Well, Liang came out looking really confident in this match. His confidence now, though, has taken a little bit of a dent because he did have the chance there to lead 2-0. Judd Trump on the Home Nation Series since we began 4 years ago has won more matches than anyone else, 75. O'Sullivan second, 67, and the win percentage, matches played to matches won. Trump's at 85% for this series. Now, bearing in mind, you know, the first 4 rounds are always short sprints. That's a very, very impressive record. Of course, he's won the last 2 events, the English and Northern Ireland Opens.
Yes, we're not talking about the £1 million bonus because there isn't one, basically, or else we would have been, I think, banging on about it quite a lot from the start he's made. Whether that would have impacted on him actually having won them both, I don't know, because a lot of money would have been riding on things. But even then, to be in this position into event 3, still in it, it's a great effort.
Yes, someone tweeted me the other day to say that they thought Barry Hearn, now he's won the first 2, should still institute a bonus. Well, he's not going to do that, is he? Why would he do that with a good chance someone could win it?
One.
No, probably only get him out to 1 point. Yeah, it's unfortunate the bonus doesn't exist. Same as the £1 million for the if 20 147s are made has gone this season. But of course, we all understand the way that things are in the economy. Money has been channeled into other pass of snooker, so that's fair enough. Ironically, there's going to be quite a few 147s, I think, this season as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth saying not only are these tournaments, still on, but the prize funds
Rainbow.
have remained as they were last year. They haven't been cut, so, that's all to the good for the players.
Liang Wenbo 1.
The Mark Williams-Jackson Page match is just starting, so that's one I think it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Will experience tell, or will Jackson Page get one over on his mentor?
One.
Well, I can you assume he played it, although it was quite a thin one. Here it is again. Then he just passed the other red. I didn't see him put his hand up and say sorry anyhow.
Five. Six.
Well, that is a very good positional shot. It was just off straight there, and he's finished, I think, as good on the red as you could have done.
12.
Oh.
16.
A couple of the colourblind players who wouldn't like this here, this brown too near the reds. Mark Williams is one of them, actually. He struggles when the brown goes near the reds to distinguish it.
Strangely enough, so does Jackson Page, because I heard him saying yesterday after his match with the referee of one of his wins, that exactly that. He says not as bad as Mark. Anyway, that's a surprising miss. I don't think it was a kick because he missed it thin. I can't really explain why he missed that. It's an odd one. He leapt up in the air straight away. If it was a kick, I've never seen one kick thin before. Whatever it was a pretty terrible shot from Trump, wasn't it? But if nothing else, it's just taken the sting out of the game, isn't it? Judd didn't see which way Wenbo started for a frame and a half. But now that he won frame two and the sort of zest that Wenbo started with had just been put on hold for a moment.
One.
Well, at first I thought he'd played a bad safety shot until I saw that he certainly had a look at the two reds. He felt that plant was unmissable. The rest of the shot was a bit scruffy, but we can't have everything, I suppose. He's looking at the path up and down for the cue ball here, having potted the... He's got to avoid the yellow.
Eight.
I saw a stat a moment ago that Liang is going at about 95% pot success, so it's not that he's done very much wrong to be 1-all. Wow, well, everything moved there.
Liang Wenbo. Eight.
You're supposed to keep as still as possible on the shot. But I can tell you the whole kitchen sink went into this.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of archetypal heart-on-sleeve player, isn't he? And as I say, he was flying and had a chance for 2-0, but the fact that he didn't make the clearance to win the last frame, maybe he's struggling a little bit from it. But Trump also maybe not at his absolute best yet.
One.
Well, it was more difficult than the one that Trump missed, I feel. To that same pocket.
Five. Six. $30.
So another big chance for Liang Wenbo here.
14.
I think the middle red of the 5 goes into the left corner. You may have seen it from that view. I think he can play in behind it here. I don't think he's got to open them up unless he really has to. Yeah. He's playing a delicate little
24.
cannon. I suppose that will open 2 other reds up as well.
22. $29. $30.
Well, that's not bad. That is not bad. don't know if the pink spot is free. I don't think it is. Obviously, the brown would go on there as the highest available.
34.
Well, he wasn't punished for that red he missed. And if he could just nail this frame now, it might just get him back on an even keel again. He certainly looks up for the match. He's taking the game to Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. He's come out firing, isn't he, from shot one, really, when he potted that fantastic red.
43.
We're used to Trump potting everything, aren't we?
50.
And, you know, you still fancied him for that, but he didn't pot it.
See, I'm seeing it again, and I thought it at the time. I thought he could have played that in the middle of that red. I thought very easy in the middle. I thought maybe my eyes had gone and it wasn't potable, but I think from that replay, he could have dropped it in. He may not have felt that he was going to be on a colour, but it was a lot easier a pot, I feel. Anyway, he's been made to pay for it.
Yeah, this is like the way that Liang started in frame one when he made that 74. It seems this brown's been on every spot other than its own in this frame.
65.
One thing it is, as I said before, it's a very entertaining match. Both played in an attacking, kind of enterprising way, especially Wenbo. That's how he always plays. I guess one of the reasons he can be inconsistent when the pots aren't going in, but when they are, he's great to watch.
Well, when they played at the UK Championship a couple of weeks ago, he didn't look like he could possibly win, but he certainly looks like he can today. He looks really up for this match. A good 68 from Liang Wenbo. Judd Trump did have the half chance, missed that red, and Liang has gone back in front. So really interesting match in progress here, and it is Liang leading 2-1. Of course, they started playing here at 10 o'clock this morning, local time, and these are the results so far. Mark Allen, Champion of Champions winner, 4-3 over Zhou Yulong, of course, a UK semi-finalist last weekend. Stuart Bingham, another player through and a decider, the Masters champion, beat Robert Milkins, 4-3. Jamie Jones, 4-3 over Sam Craigie. Eden Sharaf, quietly going along well, 4-1 winner over Zhao Jianbo. Ricky Walden, he was the first to win this morning, 4-0 over Zach Surety. Karen Wilson, 2-0 down, beat Michael Holt 4-2. Lou Hyshun, the last of them, through 4-3 over Sonny Akani. So they're all through to the last 16 later on. And Mark Joyce is taking the lead here against Mark Selby. Didn't get much of a look in frame one, but putting together another good break here. Mark Joyce, as I said earlier, tough player to beat. He's beaten a lot of the top players in recent years, just hasn't been maybe as consistent in tournaments though. Did get to the Riga Masters final, didn't he, last season? Seems a long time ago now when he played Yan Bingtao. Anyway, he's going to be 2-1 up, clearly playing well. Also, Ding Junhui has just had a century against Martin O'Donnell to lead 2-0.
Yeah, of course, Ding is interesting because he didn't feel that he was ever that interested in these home nations events. He played in them, not always, but when he did, the signs this week, I've watched a couple of his matches, he's played quite well. You know, the disappointment of the UK Championship being beaten in round 2 by David Grace. But a few of the people that you don't normally see playing their best in these home nations events are popping up this week.
Well, Ding's only ever been in one Home Nations quarter-final. That was the last event in Northern Ireland Open. Before then, as you say, he'd never done anything in them. Anyway, Eurosport app for Mark Selby, Mark Joyce. So, Judd, Trump, spot a bother here, trailing 2-1 to someone playing really well, and just the odd error from Trump. Yeah, I mean, it looked from that angle that he could play it to the middle. He took it to the corner, and this was an excellent pot from Liang, and he made a very good break of 68, and had that sort of swag around the table that we saw in frame 1 from him before he lost the second on the pink. So it's 2-1 to Liang Wenbo. That match between Barry Hawkins and Liam Highfield, there were 4 centuries, 2 apiece, including Highfield's 16 red clearance of 140. So Hawkins won 4-3, but looked at a terrific match.
I mean, they're not that dissimilar in their style, are they? These two. Clearly, Trump is a better player. He's done an awful lot more. But left-handed players, you like to take their shots on. Not the perfect technique, and I would include Judd in that. The way that he addresses the ball. Earlier in the week, you feel like he's going to hit the wrong side of it, and then he just turns it round at the right time. Wenbo, everything moves on most shots. But what they do have is a fantastic eye for the ball. Needs a rattle here in the jaws. Or, well, I suppose that's not too bad. But with Wenbo, you know, he could drill in a long red here from hand. Very possible. This time, decides to rein himself in, not go for the long red. Played quite an attacking safety shot, though. That cue ball angling around the table. It's pretty good. He may have left the red near the pocket, but it's mighty difficult if he does think it's worth playing. Cue ball could finish anywhere. I don't know whether the black goes. I'll get the feeling it doesn't, because Wenbo might have taken the long red when Trump went in off. If the black went, I think the other red looks to be in the way. The fact that he's looking at the blue, I think, will confirm that black isn't potable. Not a very easy table here. Red's okay, but high value colour's not easy to get on. Well, I can tell you, absolutely no clue where the balls were going to end up there. That was a hit and hope. So many reds moved. I can't even count how many reds moved there. 7? 6 or 7?
Judge round 4.
It's what was happening a bit in the final, I think, at the weekend. Balls were just going awkward and colours weren't available when players were getting in. So, we thought it'd be a feast of scoring. There were 4 centuries, but I think people have forgotten that already. But a lot of the frames, particularly obviously the decider, got very sort of dragged out. Oh, another brilliant pot from Liang Wenbo.
And the pots are going in so cleanly, aren't they, those long pots? That one that he started with, and now this has not gone anywhere near the jaw. It's gone straight in the middle of the pocket. Made a great sound. Yeah, I think that final, it never really got going, although the nearest we got to that, I think, after the first interval, mid-session, frames 5 to 8, they really stepped it up. But at night, it was all about the tension, wasn't it? They never quite able to play at their brilliant best with what was at stake.
Yeah, I think it'll be remembered not as maybe a classic final, but certainly a classic finish. Now then, it's a big shot, this yellow. It's slightly hampered.
Not sure how many finals have ever been decided by the odd frame, and I don't think there was more than one frame in it the whole match. That can't have happened very often.
I'm sure the dot stats people out there will let you know, Neil. Meanwhile, as I say, this yellow, big shot.
It's a very brave shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
You never seem happy with it.
No. Well, that's how he plays, The yellow was about 10 times more difficult than the brown, but the brown didn't offer him any position, he felt. Well, he's under pressure now. If he takes the brown on with the red over the middle, it's a pressurised shot. This is not easy. Very clean. I think you look at that from that low camera angle and it foreshortens the distance. The balls were apart. That was not an easy pot. That's a very disappointing shot from Trump.
Round 6.
That's another colour out of commission. Yeah, it's one of those frames.
Now, does that red go by the black? It must be close. There may be enough to get through. I don't think Wenbo had any idea there might be a red potable here. Yeah, that will go, I think. There's not a lot of room there. I think it can get through.
1.
That was an oversight from Wenbo. He didn't really think that there was any way. I guess from down the other end, the Reds all looked completely together. He can't believe he's left it.
Well, now the black is available, so chance for Trump to get going again. Could be a big error from Liang. Well, he's not on that red.
8.
Yeah, that was not the most difficult cannon that Judd's ever played. Wenbo now hoping that that mistake he made doesn't count for that many.
9.
But I think when Judd knocked in that first red, Wenbo's face was like thunder. Fantastic. Fantastic cueing.
This is what it's good at, isn't it? If he goes slightly wrong positionally, you can just recover with a great pot.
14. $21. 22. 29.
Well, he put that green safe when he was only 10 points to 5 in front, but actually it's looking like a good decision now. It's giving him a bit of security in a frame where balls are awkward. What we've seen of late is just how much Trump wants to win. You know, last season, 3 or 4 ranking events weren't enough. He won 6. I would have sure loved to have won more. We saw him how disappointed he was on Sunday to lose a final despite all the success he's had. It's the attitude of the Davises and the Hendrys, the great champions.
38.
Yeah, it's what champions do, isn't it? They win things and they win them over again.
Black to lead by 50, so he's going to need another red and a colour.
That's a good shot. Nice area to play in. Yeah, I think Wenbo, the shot he played, I think he looked at the table and thought, I can't really leave anything here. There's a red or 2 available, but nothing else. But the red he left, it certainly opened the black up somewhat.
40.
So it was quite a significant error to make, actually.
Pink's frame ball, and you know they had to be worked out in this frame. They weren't all lying nicely, but as you say, a big error from Liang. He sort of almost knew what was coming, sat in that seat shaking his head, and it's come. Could have done with that in. He may still go in.
End of frame.
Well, 2 snookers, so some sort of chance here. Well, in fact, there's no chance because it's conceded. So 52 the break from Judd Trump. This is a fascinating match and firmly in the balance, all square at 2 each. Table 2, Mark Selby, the defending champion, 2-1 down to Mark Joyce, but Selby looks like he's about to win this 4th frame. Already a snooker needed, the blue to make sure. So it's going to be 2-2 there as well. It looks a high quality match. Selby started with a century, he has a chance to make another one here. Mark Joyce has had a couple of sizable breaks as well. So If you're watching on the Eurosport app, I'm sure you're enjoying that one. Yeah, he got a bit bogged down yesterday against Nigel Bond, but eventually he did step it up. He made a century. It wasn't a pretty match by any means. Joyce actually had a century here in the last frame, 106, so this would be for the third in the match. We've had so far in the tournament 64.
Yes, of course, people just automatically throw their hands up in the air and say, oh, the pockets are enormous. It's nothing to do with that. We've seen lots of balls along the cushions missed. I think it's a combination of players, not travelling all around the world and turning up tired here, although there's a few that are not exactly in the best mental state, I think. And also playing in the same venue all the time, the conditions are not going to vary that much.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, you've got to give the players credit. They're really good. That's why they make all these breaks. And Selby, as usual, in adversity, hits back. But this is good to see him scoring, because this match could have been very tactical. They can both play that game, but actually it's been the opposite. It looks like 3 centuries in 4 frames. You can't argue with that.
Yeah, we've got 2 good games of snooker, haven't we? The match we're watching and the game on the Eurosport app. That is, as you say, boiling up nicely as well.
Frame 5. Yeah,
2-2 between Judd Trump and Liang Wenbo. I think that's the other good thing about best of sevens. No intervals, no traipsing off for 20 minutes, just straight on with it. Frame 5. Trump made a good 52 from quite a difficult starting position. In that last frame, Liang wasn't interested in playing on for the 2 snookers he needed. Ding Junhui 3-0 up against Martin O'Donnell. Ding could play Sean Murphy. Murphy, of course, got to beat Jamie O'Neill first. Mark Selby's made a century in frame 4 against Mark Joyce, so there's been 3 centuries in 4 frames there. 2 from Selby, 1 from Joyce. 65 now in this tournament. The record in a Home Nations event, 83, English Open 3 years ago, so that's possibly under threat.
Oh, that's a good shot. That is a good safety shot, isn't it? And Wenbo taps the table. Played it with left-hand side. I think the point about a match like this, safety is as important, if not more than ever. If you've got 2 terrific potters, and these 2 do pot great balls, you've got to ensure that the guy you're playing, you always draw a chair up at that bulkhead for him and leave him up there, because you can't afford to leave anything sticking out.
Oh, what a mess.
Surely this hasn't got the legs, is it, to reach?
Safety favouring Trump at the moment as they just try and make sure the white's back in the right place. Yeah, there's Trump on the backboard, and the way it's going next year, he'll be possibly the only person on it. Of course, next year we hope we are back in Glasgow with a crowd. No need for the various boards around the arena. Because the irony here, of course, the Scottish Open, a lot of the Scottish players, I think, have found it difficult increasingly coming down to Milton Keynes, 7-hour drive, and in normal circumstances a couple of them might come together, but you can't do that because if the other guy tests positive, you're out of the tournament as well. So we saw Steve Maguire slightly crack in his match earlier on in the week, and the other Scots, one by one, have departed. Of course, we lost Higgins yesterday, Alan McManus, Graham Dott. Eden Sharaf represents Israel, albeit grew up in Scotland. But unless I've missed one, all the others are out.
Well, this is a shot where he's left the red sticking out this time. Again, no real guarantees of where the cue ball is going to end up if Judd gets it, but he's the kind of player who will chance his arm, I think. Might get lucky. I think natural angle is for cue ball to crash into the black and all the reds.
One.
But he took it wide, played it with screw and right-hand side. That was a controlled shot, in fairness.
Four. Five.
Yeah, black and pink at the moment, as you can see, tied up, so this cue ball having to travel a bit. Trump's just edged in front of Neil Robertson on the all-time centuries list. Made one yesterday because Neil's not in this tournament. 7.57 leaves him, 18 behind Stephen Hendry's record, or total I should say, of 7.75. Hendry third place. Of course, he could add to that if he does start this comeback that's been talked about. Last I heard about that was he said he would play in the qualifiers for the World Championship.
Suggests he's not in a rush, doesn't it?
Well, of course, this tournament, Neil, is for the Stephen Hendry Trophy, this one. So his name's on the trophy, but he's not playing in it.
I do know that he's been practicing a little bit at the venues when he's been there. I know that
16.
one of the events earlier in the season, I saw him practicing a day or two with Ken Doherty. I think there's some good games. Stephen, I think he's doing all right with his
17.
game. He's playing a lot better than he was when he's just playing in the odd seniors event. But I don't know, like you, the same as you, the latest on it. But if he does come back, he'll add to that 7.75, which I thought was carved in stone, really. Seemingly not.
22.
Well, he's got the pink and the black out. The black's gone a little safe on the cushion. The pink now is potable where it is.
Yeah, the reds are very good though, aren't they? And as you say, the
26.
pink might be potable, but it's not necessarily made it that easy. So as the shot, he extricated the pink, but put it into a only marginally easier place.
If he could pot it, at least he'll get it back on its spot. So this frame opening up a little bit, but still work to be done. Of course, Hendry was so much associated with the shot from the blue into the pack, get them open early in frames. And his break building prowess is what all the players since have looked to emulate.
$28. $29.
So that's what he's done. He's played for the pink. He can get it back on its spot, and suddenly this frame opening up for Trump.
Yes, given that the pink spot is absolutely free, nothing anywhere near it, so that's going to be the ball I think that he tries to framework his break around.
35. It's
an important frame because it's pretty obvious he's played well today. No, he really has. He's been kept quiet for a little while now. Trump just warming to the task. He caught it very cold. Wenbo was very good early. But I think he made that mistake in the previous frame, leaving a red. I don't think he ever thought he could leave. Really, since then it's been all one-way traffic.
43.
Terrific match, this. One of the best we've seen all week. And Trump has seen that he's had to raise his game because of the way Liang's played, and he has done.
48. $49.
So really had to work the cue ball early on with black and pink not available, but once he got the pink into play, it just became a little bit more straightforward.
56.
Another red and a colour after this pink.
Well, he's always been so good, Dave, isn't he, at making breaks when it didn't appear there were that many on, did it?
62.
When he won the World Championships as the tournament went on so frequently. This has not been the easiest table, but he's just kept going.
Very, very good break, this. Just seems time and time again, when questions are asked of Judd Trump, he finds the answers.
Yes, difficult to make a sizable break without ever being near the black. Black's always been there. So it makes it even better, really. Yeah, he can get on the black. He might push the other red out. He certainly landed on the black this time. When he dropped these in down the cushion, they seem to hug the rail. It's when they play them at speed, get problems. It's never going to stay up, that one. So, if this drops in on the black, then with the yellow, another century. Not made one today, but it's been a terrific break.
Yeah, Robertson's still just ahead of him for the season in terms of centuries. 41 to Trump's 39, but what a terrific break this has been. As I say, it wasn't straightforward early on. It's almost like he's commanded that cue ball to do his bidding, and it has done. Brilliant. Some player, and once again, you know, you think, will this be the match where tiredness overcomes him, or he has an off day and all the rest of it? Well, he's been pressed and he's answered the question. Changes hands here on the brown, which he's missed, but 104 from Judd Trump. Delightful break that to go in front in this match for the first time. And Judd Trump needs one more frame, and he'll be in the last 16 of the Scottish Open. He leads Liang Wenbo 3-2. Now then, on table 2, it is 2-2 between Mark Selby and Mark Joyce. 3 centuries here, 2 from Selby, 1 from Joyce, and Selby leads by 22 points in frame 5. So Mark Selby, the defending champ, playing well, but at the same time, so's his opponent. So another close one for our viewers on the Eurosport app.
Yeah, Selby very often finds a way, though, doesn't he, of getting the job done. As you say, this has been a good performance and a high-quality match.
Well, I mentioned the Liam Highfield defeat to Barry Hawkins. You know, he's had 2 centuries, including a 16 red total clearance, and lost. So he's played really well in the match, but obviously we didn't see the decider, but Barry's got the win. Jimmy Robertson in the UK Championship had 3 centuries. Obviously the matches were longer there, best of 11, but he was beaten in his first round. Mark Williams 2-0 up against Jackson Page. And Ding is on a break to beat Martin O'Donnell 4-0. O'Donnell can be a very difficult opponent, but snooker's required there, so it looks like Ding's going to be through 4-0. Ding plays either Sean Murphy or Jamie O'Neill, and they'll follow the Selby match here against Mark Joyce on the Eurosport app on table 2. Yeah, he never played in the Scottish Open, had he, until last year. Didn't play in the first 3, but won on his debut, and I'm sure would love to retain the title. So you can follow how he gets on over on the Eurosport app. So Judd Trump has just made his 40th century break of this season. In fine style, it's got to be said. Took a while to get the pink into play, and indeed the black for that matter. It was on that top cushion. But a lovely break. Eventually missed the brown right-handed, but 104 puts him within 1 of victory. First time he's been in front today.
Immediately you see the red flying down the table, and you're always looking for a bit of cover on it, and he's covered the red, luckily. So often the red goes down, and about 50-50 it seems as to whether one of the bulk colours get in the way. Now, Wenbo's been knocking in long pots. This one is having been left cold for quite a while without any shots. But he could do with this going in. Getting on the black, getting back into the match. Oh, there you have it. It's a different game when you've not been at the table, you've been watching your opponent, to what it is when you're in rhythm at the start of a match, perhaps. But as close to the right corner as the one he played it in there.
1.
So, Judd must realise the winning line is in sight in this match. Yeah, to stay with his opponent early, let's be honest, he was hanging on for a couple of frames. Now he's starting to stride away.
Six. Seven.
First winner in this session is Ding Junhui. 4-0 over Martin O'Donnell. Ding plays Sean Murphy or Jamie O'Neill in the last 16 this evening.
13.
You feel he's one good shot away here on a colour from maybe getting this match won. He gets in behind the important red. A little short of pace. I don't know if he's on a red to the right corner or not. Bit of a slowish walk round the table, often an indication that he's not any good. No, he's going to have to play safe.
Judd trumps 17.
It's got to go down as a reprieve for Liang Wenbo, who after the last frame must have been fearing the worst in his seat there.
Yes, at least he kept it tight. He's played a good shot there. He's not left any easy safety shot. Wenbo with his arms folded. He's trying to find a thin edge, which I don't think he's got access to. What do you do here? I think he can hit reds, but I don't think he can hit a thin edge of red to get back up the table. So now he's looking at playing off a cushion. Try and lay up to this bottom right-hand red. Doesn't want to go around the back of it. Oh, that's very good. He hit it.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much scope for misjudging that, but he played it so well.
This court is very thick, and that's always worrying. The red has chased the cue ball up the table because he hit it all wrong. So one good shot, followed by a bad one from Wenbo.
1.
Another good chance for Trump.
Eight. Nine.
He's never shy of getting into the bunch of reds, and that has worked out very well. Good shot. You do now wonder whether this match is about to end. Trump's still got to do it from here, but the balls are nicely laid out now.
14. 15.
Yes, I mean, it's not over yet, but if he does win, you know, you can look back, I think, to the second frame where he missed that yellow, didn't he, clearing up, and Liang did have a chance to go 2-0 up. Put Trump under real pressure early on.
20.
Not to say he wouldn't have responded, but we'll never know because he won the frame.
21.
Well, the red at the bottom of the bunch goes, and of course the one by the black. Plenty of options and already a sizable lead in the frame.
27.
Just a few signs here. I wouldn't want to tempt fate, but maybe some confidence renewed for Judd Trump after what happened on Sunday, that very late night, in fact early hours of Monday morning defeat. Must have hurt him, but the first two matches I felt he was not at his best, understandably. Here, he's had to raise his game and he's been able to. So I think if he was to win this, I think it'd be a pleasing win. Oh, there's one he didn't hit particularly well. He put it very cleanly. Now, I mean, he's moving all kinds of shots here. He's got the red on the left cushion, which is his backup. But this is a dangerous shot. You wouldn't want to miss it. Oh, goodness me.
43.
Well, that is the most outrageous fluke you'll ever see. Wasn't deserved. Not really. It was a terrible shot.
Yeah, and he's actually tied a couple more reds up or put them safe, which helps him, of course. Outrageous. I mean, they were just off and running there, weren't they?
It's one of those flukes. I mean, you put your hand up to apologise, but you wouldn't dare look at your opponent. You wouldn't want to make eye contact with him after that, because that was unbelievable.
50.
Snooker's already required. So a little bit of good fortune, well, let's be honest, a huge slice of good fortune has helped him over the line, but overall, he played well today. He's had to. Liang came out. Remember that first red he potted in frame one? An absolute humdinger. Could have gone 2-0 up. I think that was a big frame, that second. Trump has got better as it's gone on, had the century in the last frame. Could yet make one here.
You're absolutely right, David. It's been a good game, really enjoyable.
63.
Maybe for Liang Wenbo, not so enjoyable the way it's ended up, but Trump has just reminded us what a terrific player he is, the world number one by a mile.
63.
Confidence dented, but back today, I think.
Yeah, he's played well, he's had to. 63 in the end, that fluke certainly helped him over the line, but overall another very strong performance by the world number one, Judd Trump, into the last 16 of the Scottish Open. He's beaten Liang Wenbo 4-2.